I'm Lauren, the BikeBiz editor, here today with Nick Keat, who's joining me to tell me about the brand. So Nick, if you could introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm Nick. Nick from Magicshine UK. I've been part of the family. We like to call it a family because we are quite close knit. I work quite closely with the Chinese in Shenzhen. I've been doing it the last 4 or 5 years, and it all sort of came from a post that I put up on my personal Instagram. I've always enjoyed cycling. I did a lot of mountain bike racing, a lot of enduro, and it was just the cost of everything. So I kind of made up my own personal Instagram. I had around about sort of 10,000 followers, and then, as you do, this was before it was kind of popular to be a Instagram influencer. I used to reach out to all these brands and kind of ask for some products, for a little bit of reviewing. So obviously reached out to Magicshine. It was getting winter, needed some lights. Reached out to a few sort of bike brands, and Magicshine were the only ones that came back to me and seemed quite keen. Sent me one of their products, which I really was quite impressed with. I don't know if you know it, the MJ906. It was 5,000 lumens. Did a test on that, did a little review. The Chinese absolutely loved it, Magicshine loved it, and came back to me a few months later asking if I wanted to become their distributor. So yeah, that's how it all started, really.
Yeah, that's definitely a great history. So yeah, you've been distributing the products now for the last couple of years. So how's that kind of gone, and how's it building in the UK market?
Yeah, definitely. So we started off direct to consumer. Within the first year, like I said, I had the background. I knew, the magazines that really wanted to review mountain bike lights. That was my favourite, obviously, discipline back at the time. And I know that Magicshine had this new Montier series. They came out with a Montier 6500s, obviously 6500 lumens. So I'd sent these out to the magazines. They absolutely raved about it, and then what really kicked us off, it won Mountain Bike Light of the Year here in the UK. I think 3 or 4 different magazines voted it, so it all sort of started from there. That was sort of like the first 2 years we were direct to consumer, and then took it to the next level, where we are now sort of currently trying to get into more retailers.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's great. So we are going to be actually following this interview with a piece in the mag next month. So this is just an introduction. So you call yourself a bit of a bike geek. So is that how you kind of got involved in all this and using the products and things?
Yeah, definitely. I still do now. Anything on 2 wheels I love. So yeah, it started again, like I said, it started off with the mountain bike enduro. Then I got to the age of where actually falling off your bike does hurt a lot more. And now I've reached 42. I kind of run out of talent. But I always used road cycling as a training aid for me. Actually found out I was quite good at it, quite powerful. And then that sort of swiftly followed into time trialing. So I kind of feel like I've done all the disciplines. I'm always testing these lights myself. All the products that come out, I'm sort of fully testing them, and then I'd sort of feed back to the actual manufacturer my ideas. So we've got quite a few sort of exciting projects up our sleeve at the moment, really.
Oh, so how much can you actually talk about the exciting products, or is that something that
we
can
talk about it. So I've got a little bit of a project at the moment. Everything in the road cycling kind of discipline it's all about aerodynamics. So we went to Euro Bike Show. Obviously, maybe a little bit selfish myself, but I fancied a aerodynamic light, obviously as a time trialist. And then we got together with the Chinese, shown them around Eurobike how important aerodynamics was for the industry. It just seems like everything's like it, the helmets, the bike frames, the wheels, and sort of went back to them and asked them where our aerodynamic light was. They thought it was a great idea. So this sort of upcoming 6 months, we're going to be taking a light off to get some testing in the Silverstone F1 tunnel and get some feedback and kind of go on from there, really.
Oh, that sounds really exciting, actually. So let's talk a little bit more about the product range. What's in the range at the moment for people that don't know?
Yeah, so we've got everything. So we already talked about the Montier range. So we start off with our Montier 3500, and that series goes up to now to 12,000 lumens, which I believe is possibly the brightest out on the market. It's insanely bright. It's ridiculous. You kind of need sunglasses when riding with it. But lumens sell. That's something we've noticed always. And like I said, we're always pushing the boundaries. The Chinese are always looking forward. So yeah, that's sort of our mountain bike range. We also do a cheaper mountain bike range called the MJ series, which brings that sort of budget price down to the around about the £100-150 mark. That's our mountain bike range covered. With road cycling, we have the Alti series. So we start off an Alti 200 all the way up to a 3,000 lumen. And that kind of crosses over into the trail gravel side of things as well, where we sort of recommend anything for trail 2,500 lumens up. So we kind of cater for everyone. We've got a radar light, which is comparable to a few others out there. It just comes in at half the price. And we've also started doing cycling glasses. So we've got photochromic lenses, coloured photochromic lenses, which I think is a first. I don't think anyone else has done it. So it starts off as a clear lens, reacts to the sunlight, and that's when it will actually transfer to a kind of a mirrored look, which looks really kind of jazzy and cool. And we've also just come out with a aero e-pump. So yeah, we're always looking to kind of tackle the next thing, and hopefully one day Magicshine will be sort of like the one-stop shop for all your bike needs. Like I said, we're always coming up with ideas, always asking for feedback and other ideas. We own our own factory, so we make everything in-house. So it's just sort of good ideas, what everyone wants, and we can make that.
Yeah, that's great. So you guys have been around since about 1999. Was it around 2007 you entered the bike light market?
Yeah, so started in 1999 we started making LEDs. And then in 2007, we came out of our first bike light, the MJ 808, which was really, really popular. It was around about 2,000 lumens, which was quite a big jump back then. Which obviously got us on the map. And then 2013 we came out with the Eagle, which was extremely sort of popular as well. It was one of our sort of smart lights. And then in 2019 we won our first Red Dot Award, which is quite a popular certificate to get. And that was with our Alti 1000.
Oh, that's great. We won't touch too much on the retailer side of things today, because if people want to see that, then they'll have to read the October issue. But in terms of retail partners, or as much as you can talk about pricing, what kind of, in comparison to other brands, lighting brands on the market, what do you kind of offer for retailers?
Yeah, so we're very much the same. We've obviously looked at the competition, their pricing structures, and obviously what we like to do what all Chinese brands do is not undercut, but come in more budget friendly. still offering still the same great products. It's just we are at a cheaper price. So obviously we pass that on to the retailers as well. We have 4 pricing structures, which you can buy in at any price. And obviously the more you go up the range, the more you go up the price, the better discount you get. We have full warranty support as well within the UK. We find it easiest if we deal with them directly. So there's no need for a retailer to deal with any of that, any sort of reasoning why the lights have failed. Literally just send it to us and we'll deal with it.
So tell us a little bit more about the Magicshine team within the UK. Obviously it's yourself, but who else have you got on board?
Yeah, so we are a family business. At the moment, it's just me and my partner. If we need any help, we for marketing and stuff like that, we reach out to third parties to help us. But what we've seen over the recent years, a lot of these bigger distributors have got themselves in a bit of trouble with lots of overheads and stuff. So, we like to keep everything at a minimum. For us, everything is about cost. If we don't have massive overheads, we can help. We're not looking for massive profit. So, we pass that on to the retailer and they can see that with our prices.
Yeah, that's really good. So what do you think a lot of people don't really realize about the brand, that if they're not familiar with it, what would you say to them, and what do you want people to take away from this conversation?
So what Magicshine is, so as I started saying earlier, the Magicshine family, we really are a family. We meet often 2-3 times a year. We are always in talks with developing new designs, and we listen to the customers. They listen to me, they know what I want. And like I said, I put myself in the shoes as a customer. I've always said I'm not a businessman. I'm just someone that's got very lucky, a bike geek that has, had the opportunity to do this. So, they listen to my feedback. They listen to others that I pass on. I'm always listening. So, it's not something we want everyone to get involved. If they've got a brilliant idea, come to me, phone me up, email me. We'll listen, and then we can make stuff for them. If it's OEM or if it's something from Magicshine they want to buy, we're always listening. And like I said, it's just one big family.
So I guess that's you guys in a nutshell. Is there anything else you want to add to that we our listeners and readers need to know about the brand?
No, just obviously, again, all these products are tested by myself. I'm always out in all weathers testing, bringing back the feedback to the actual manufacturer. And what we do best is obviously give you guys a good product at a very good price. And we can pass that on to the customer. This day and age, everyone's got tight pockets, shall we say, or it's not the word, is it? So with every
yeah, cost of living. I know it's difficult when you're kind of on the spot and you're trying to think of what to say.
How the world economics is at the moment. We're all struggling. So what the Chinese always do with every kind of market that they're in is obviously give the buyer a really good product at a reasonable price, and that's what I like to kind of sort of promote.
Yeah, definitely. So if you had to pick one light, only one out of the whole range, what would you pick and why?
Oh, now that's a hard one. I would pick so we've got one that I quite like. It's the Hore. It's a new one. It's the Hore 1300. So it's 1300 lumens, which is kind of perfect for road stroke gravel. It comes off with a cut-off beam, so you're not dazzling drivers. and it also has our new FTR technology, which means that it comes with a remote, and it's compatible with the rear light as well. So you can use one remote to change the modes and switch on or off your front or rear light.
Oh, that sounds really good. Yeah, as I touched upon earlier, in the next issue, in the October issue of BikeBiz, there'll be more about the brand and how to get involved if retailers want to. So I think that people should definitely check that out. And just thank you very much for joining me today and telling us a little bit more about the brand.